Hello everyone, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm Hunty MUA, otherwise welcome back. This week I'm getting into a topic that is very near and dear to my heart and very important to me as I celebrate being 1 year sober on the 17th. I cannot believe that it's been a year. It has been an incredibly life-changing year, and it's, you know, I can't believe it. I don't know how to put it into words. So I'm just gonna kind of tell my story, how everything started, how everything happened, how it's going, and hopefully I can shed some light on addiction, because while it's very serious, it's also very common, and it is okay to ask for help. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell icon down below so you're notified every time I post a new video, and give this one a thumbs up. Keep sharing away my videos on social media and whatnot so I can do a giveaway when I reach 500 subscribers. Also follow my socials. I am Hunty725 on Instagram and Twitter, Hunty MUA725 on TikTok. My Snapchat is in my header in the next screen you will see. I always feel like I'm forgetting something. I'm sure I am. Oh yeah, I'm gonna do a lot of talking throughout this video, so check out the description box below for all of the products I'm using, for my discount codes, and also for the phone number for the National Addiction Hotline and the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. It is okay to ask for help. It could change your life, so don't be afraid to do that. And I am going to tell you all my story. I'm gonna start with my brows like I usually do. So unless there's something that's like a standout or whatever, I think this is all stuff that I've used before or stuff from a line I've used before. I'll just link everything in the product description down below that I'm using because I'm going to talk a lot. This has honestly been such a journey and a life-changing one at that for me. It's still something that's ongoing every single day. Addiction does not go away. I'm not even gonna say it gets better. You just learn how to deal with it and work through it. Because like I said, it's never gonna go away. And that's been hard to kind of understand and deal with, but I have. I started drinking when I was in college. When I got to college, basically, probably about a week or two in, as lots of people do when they go off to college. The strange thing was I don't want to toot my own horn, but also my life's a lot different now. And I think a lot of the shock in this whole process has been me being such a golden child growing up. I got good grades, I excelled in my extracurriculars and my hobbies. I had a good path set up for myself going into college, and most of that was messed up or taken away because of me focusing on partying and drinking too much. You know, it started as parties and going out. However, I was always the one that drank the most, who drank more than everyone else, and if I could remember the night before, then that was impressive. It was very rare. And as I continued drinking over the years, more often than not, and then eventually almost every time, I would black out and not remember anything. And that was scary. I've always been an anxious person, and immediately it was more of like a coping mechanism for me to deal with anxiety and depression that I wasn't really acknowledging at all. So it became, like I said, I drank heavily from the time that I started, and for the longest time it was passable because I was in college, or when I left college I had friends that were still in college. I still lived in a college town, so it was easy to do that and not have many people think anything of it, or at least bring attention to it. The first time people close to me started to notice that it was a problem was when my family suffered the terrible loss of my grandpa back in 2017. As lots of you that are close to me know, I have always been very, very close to my mom's parents, and that was hard for me. So when I got back from Alabama, from literally watching him die and take his last breath and attending the funeral. I started drinking a lot, but it started to become even more of a problem. It was already an issue because I drank way too much, and that was obvious. But I would say stupid things, pick arguments, bring up stuff from the past that wasn't even relevant, spend money more irresponsibly than I already do. I will say that's one thing I'm still working on, one step at a time. And many occasions I even got in a car and drove, and that is incredibly dangerous. And I'm so lucky that nothing ever happened to me or anyone else, but it was all bad. It was very rare that when I went out and drank or drank at home, it ended up being a good night. That was very rare. And eventually it went from me, you know, going out with friends and stuff to mostly just drinking at home alone, which was very damaging, and what really sparked the bad parts of my addiction, the worst parts, the worst experiences I had from it. One thing to mention is addiction can be triggered by lots of things, you know, loss or trauma. So before the passing of my grandpa, I had experienced a terrible breakup with someone I shouldn't have trusted at such a young age. I'd had one failed attempt at college and later a second failed attempt at college because, like I said, I focused too much on partying and being social. I lost lots of friendships and opportunities at romantic relationships. It's even harder being an addict and an alcoholic and being part of the LGBT community because so much of it is centered around partying and drinking, and that's hard. And it's even hard now to be asked out on a date or something, which is rare, but to be asked out to, you know, go get drinks, and I'm very open about this now, but to have to be like, yeah, sorry, I don't drink, you know. And there have been minuscule instances where people are like respectful and don't ask questions, but lots of the time it's, oh, you don't drink? What do you mean you don't drink? Why don't you drink? How do you not drink? And it's like, I just don't drink. That's the best for me. It put a big strain on relationships with people like my parents and my family and my close friends, and people that stuck by me when they totally shouldn't have and totally could have left, because it was horrible. No one wants to be around that, and no one deserves to have to deal with that. So I'm very fortunate to have had the people close to me stick by me and believe in me when I didn't believe in myself. I'm really glad I decided to do my makeup during this. Otherwise I would be bawling my eyes out right now talking about this. My addiction has made it to where I haven't had a super serious relationship last for a substantial amount of time since I came out. Large part because of that. In some part because I'm just unlucky and I keep meeting the wrong people, but also no one likes to deal with that. It's not fun. I got to the point where I would lie about things, you know. I was sick and couldn't go to work, translated to, oh, I drank too much and I was hungover or still drunk from the night before. I would totally not oblige to responsibilities or obligations that I already had. And it got to the point where those close to me couldn't trust me. I was not a trustworthy son or grandson or nephew or brother or whatever. I was not a trustworthy friend. I was not a trustworthy employee. And it just was hard for people to deal with because that's not me. I'm a very dedicated and ambitious individual. I'm very compassionate and kind-hearted. And when I drank, I was polar opposite. And I hated that. I would hear some of the things, you know, told back to me that I said to someone, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, I knew it was true. It was super hard to deal with, but I closed it up and, you know, made excuses or manipulated people into thinking that what I was doing was okay, or I needed to do it, or I was gonna drink differently this time, which was never the case and was never going to be the case. That's why I had to stop. I am gonna do a little bit of a promo really quick because something super exciting has happened. So for concealer, I'm gonna be using my Jouer Essential High Coverage Liquid Concealer. This is in the shade Crème. I am now a Jouer affiliate, which is super exciting. Their concealer is amazing. All of their products are amazing. Their blushes, their lip products, their primers, you name it, wonderful. A super great brand to support. They're clean, they're inclusive and diverse, but definitely check out some of their products, especially this concealer. It's amazing. And use code HUNTY725 to save a little bit on your purchase at jouercosmetics.com. I do make a small commission when you use my code, so it is greatly appreciated. If you don't want to use it, do not feel obligated, but it would mean the world to me and you would be supporting an amazing, amazing brand. So essentially, I always drank differently than everyone else when I started. Like I said, it was more passable in college because I was in college. Hello. I would go out to dinner with friends and I would have, you know, a couple drinks at dinner, but that was never enough. I would go home and drink more. I would, you know, leave dinner after having a couple drinks and that buzz wasn't enough. So I would stop and get a box of wine. And sometimes I would finish half or more of the box of wine in one night. It definitely affected my depression in horrible ways. So I've struggled with weight my entire life. I lost a bunch of weight before I went into college. Slowly, I gained all of that back and then some. And then I lost a bunch of weight really fast and got to the point where I was probably 5 pounds lighter than I am now. But it happened really fast and I was not eating. Very rarely would I eat. I would starve myself and I would get drunk, and it was still harder for me to get drunk very fast because I'm 6'4". I mean, hello, that was another thing. A lot of what I would do, I would start drinking on a Thursday night, be sick on Friday, and then, you know, essentially be drinking Thursday through early in the morning Sunday. It's been Sunday to recover. But the big reason I stopped going out was because no one liked to be around it. And that's okay, rightfully so. So I went from having this huge social circle in college to losing most of those friends. And lots of them were just friends that I drank with, but lots of them were people that I cared about. That still to this day, I don't know if some of those relationships are anything that will be salvageable. Some of them have been, some of them it's still, you know, I did what I did and I can't change it, and I'm working to better myself now, and it sucks, but that's a big part of it too. I'm lucky I got a handle on it so early on in life. The friends and the family that have been so supportive and non-judgmental are the people that believed in me when I didn't believe in myself, and so many times I did not. So I drank to cope with any type of difficult or stressful or sad situation. And I mean, I was very lucky that I didn't have more health problems than I did. I ended up in the hospital once after a Halloween party where I drank so much that I could not function or walk, and that was after a breakup. And instead of healthily dealing with the breakup, I went out, embarrassed myself, embarrassed a bunch of my friends, and literally almost died. There were so many times where I drank such copious amounts. I totally shouldn't have woken up, and I don't know how I did, but I did, and that is what makes me feel now like I have a purpose. It's crazy to think about. It's such a harmful substance, and unfortunately, it's the most easiest to access. It's the easiest to access. The next occasion that it became to be such an issue was when I had my first like real full-time job. And like I said, I would call into work very often. I was not reliable, and it happened so many times that I lost that job. So after that happened, I got a different job, a really good job with some really great people. And that is when I started to attempt to actually get sober. The first attempt, when I lost my first big job, I didn't have any real intention of actually stopping drinking. You know, I thought everyone was out to get me, and it was fine. I was gonna be fine, I was gonna grow up, and that was not so much the case. So at this new job, like I said, very supportive, very great. While I was at this job, you know, admitted for the first time really that I had a problem, and it was, you know, so bad that some coworkers got involved, my parents were very involved, and I went into a treatment program for the first of 3 times while I was at this job. So the first time I went into kind of an outpatient therapy kind of program, and when I first started trying this whole thing, it was not for me. It was to appease other people, like my job and my family, and that's where my big mistake was. So my goal initially, the first time around, was to find a way to drink that didn't have so much attention drawn to it, and to prove to people that I could do it normally. This didn't go so well. I was able to get by with this kind of tactic for about 3 or 4 months, and then it got to the point where my mom came and picked me up one morning after I kind of just binged and was avoiding work and all of my responsibilities, and I went to my first inpatient treatment program. And at this point, it was still for other people. It wasn't for me. It wasn't about me. It was about getting people off my back and still being able to do the same thing I was doing, like I said, without drawing so much attention to it. So essentially, I was worried about doing this and getting sober for other people more so than I was for myself. And that's where I was doing the completely wrong thing. I'm not gonna forget cream blush this time. So I'm gonna go ahead and prime my lids and get into an eye look. I will just kind of speed you through this eye look, just because I know myself and I have a goal of doing something different, which I will execute somehow, but I know I'm not going to want to talk much. So this eye look is actually going to be inspired by one of my friends, Samuel Ray, who I have mentioned in a video or 2 before. He is super talented, super sweet. It's inspired by a recent look he did. It is not a recreation of the look, so if you go find it on his Instagram, do not come for me because I know it's not gonna look the same, but it's inspired. I will also say while I'm kind of halfway through this eye look, purple and yellow was requested by one of my TikTok followers, and I totally should have looked to see who it was, but I figured I would do a purple and yellow look and give people what they want. So I'm gonna do kind of like some graphic liner, I don't know if I consider this graphic. I'm a little nervous, so. So now that the eyes are mostly done, let's get back into my journey. So like I had mentioned, I started trying to get sober for the wrong reasons and to appease other people, and that was not good, that was not healthy. So I, at this point, was, not seeing my family as often. I was not hanging out with my good friends as often. So I was hanging out with the wrong people. I was lying to everyone. I was manipulating those close to me at this point into thinking that it was okay for me to drink and that I could do it differently, when I knew why I wanted to drink and the state that I enjoyed being in, which is why I drank. So at this point in the journey, the people I still had left close to me were all very concerned, but everyone pretty much felt like they had exhausted all their options and tried to help me help myself as much as they could, and I just wasn't having it. So what it really took for me were two completely failed rounds of treatment and me hitting total rock bottom to realize that I had to do this for myself and I had to do it for real. I lost my job, I lost the new apartment I had just got, I had already lost so many friends and opportunities, and it was time to change. And this time when I went into treatment, like I said, I did it for me, and that is really what changed everything. I absolutely hate the white liner. I'm going to cover it up with glitter. At this point, I reached out to my mom and I said, I need help and I have to do this for me. And I'm serious. And my parents had been through this more than once already. And it was to the point where they were like, okay, let's figure something out, but we can't keep doing this. And it really took me almost losing everything I had, including all the people close to me, to really get it together and be like, okay, yeah, that I gotta do this, and I gotta do it now. So I went to a treatment center with this mindset, and something just clicked for me, and finally it worked, and it's still working. It's really been taking the outlook of one day at a time. That's all I can do. If I try to focus too much on what could have been or what's gonna be, it doesn't do any good at all. This eye looks really cool. No, not so much. There's always one good eye and one bad eye. One of the most refreshing things about getting sober in this past year has been being able to access emotions that I haven't been able to truly feel in so many years. So whether I'm really happy about something and want to celebrate it, I'm not doing it by drinking. Or if I'm really sad or upset, then I'm sad and upset because ultimately it didn't solve any problems for me. It just created more and created most of the problems that I had. It has also allowed me to go after real dreams and goals and ambition and have a drive that I haven't had in so long, which is why I did things like start YouTube, delve more into freelancing, and just become more creative. It has improved my relationships, made my relationship with my family and my close friends so much healthier and trustworthy, and trust had to be earned. It didn't just come back. And that's been a really, really big deal to me too. And also, I feel a lot better when I wake up in the morning. That's the biggest thing. Hello, no thank you, don't want to do that again. So really, this whole process has been about building trust, doing it for the right reasons, bettering myself, and understanding that I can get through life without having to drink. Are there days that I, have a bad day or deal with something stressful and I think to myself, wow, would really like to have a drink right now? Absolutely. But I've had to learn to, as they say, play the tape through and think about what's gonna happen if I do that. Because I know it's just gonna go back to the same way that it used to be. It's not gonna be different. I can't fool myself or anyone else that it's going to be. So I put on some rather large eyelashes. So another big thing when I went into treatment, as you all know from videos I've done with her and just from me talking about my relationship with my mom, we are very close. And one thing I told my mom this time around was everyone has to know. Everyone that's in my life, everyone that comes into my life, everyone has to know if this is gonna work. So I've come to be very open about it because, in the past, when I had gone to treatment, the few programs that I've been through, if I would, meet a guy or go out with friends, then I would be scared or embarrassed to be, the friend that's not drinking. So I would make it seem like it was okay for me to, and the same stuff would happen over and over again. So I decided that literally everyone has to know, everyone. And that has been super beneficial. Everyone's super supportive because it's serious, and I never expected to receive this kind of support about the whole thing, but I'm so thankful too. And that's really what has helped me a lot, is being so open about the process. It is very hard for this to pick up on camera. Go follow me on Instagram so you can see better pictures of this look. I am going to finish up the look with some blush, highlighter, and lips, and then I will give kind of my final thoughts and wrap this up. This is crazy to me that I am filming this. That's kind of it. It's another Edge lip gloss. Use code Hunty to save 10% off. Alrighty, so that is the look, and that's kind of my story. I'm sure there are some things I forgot or skimmed over, but this has been a crazy, life-changing year, and I'm so thankful for it. I'm not saying I'm exactly where I want to be, but I'm a hell of a lot further from where I was, and it's been an amazing and refreshing experience. And it's only up from here. I have so many people to thank for their support and encouragement. I'm gonna try to do that individually a little bit. So thank you to my parents, first and foremost, for really believing in me when I didn't believe in myself. I have thought I've been at my wits' end so many times, and really this time didn't know how I was gonna come back from it. And they have been there through it all, every step of the way, and I'm so appreciative of that. My Nana in Alabama, my stepbrothers, all of my close friends, particularly my best friends Ellie and Logan, who have seen me just at my worst, not knowing how to go on, or you know what I've kind of done with myself, and just seeing a raw version of me that I haven't been able to access in, you know, years. My friends Maddie, Katie, Destiny, Maggie, Miranda, Pascal, who is a wonderful friend of mine and edits my videos, my coworkers, the treatment center I went to. There are countless other people, and the wonderful community that I've become a part of online with makeup and beauty. I'm so thankful for everyone's support, and most of all, I'm thankful for myself for doing the hardest thing I ever did, and really committing to making this happen so I can live the life that I know I deserve. And thank you all for listening to my story and letting me share it. I will link below the National Addiction Hotline and the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. It is okay to ask for help. Do not be too prideful. It could change your life. It changed mine. And I'm very thankful to be where I'm at today. Once again, don't forget to subscribe. Click the bell icon down below so you're notified every time I post a new video, and give this one a thumbs up for me. Go share away all of my videos so I can reach 500 subscribers and do a giveaway for you all. Follow my socials, Hunty725 on Instagram and Twitter, Hunty MUA 725 on TikTok. Snapchat is in the header, and the very last screen you will see. I'm so thankful for you all, and I'm so thankful to be here. I can't believe I am. I think that's it. I'm gonna go, and I'll see you all next week. Bye everyone, thanks.